Good morning. Okay, so I think that we are going to get started. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this presentation. As you can see in the title, we three are going to be talking and doing a short demo as a workshop of our proposed collaborative flow between designers and frontenders. But first, let me introduce the speakers. We have Lara, that is an experienced UX UI designer here. We have Monica as a front-end developer, and also myself, Jose, as a front-end developer too. Let's get started, and this is going to be our agenda during the talk. And there you have the QR to the slides, so you can follow easily if you want your computer. We are going to explain the main or key idea that we want to give you today, explaining the problem that we want to face, and our main point to fix it. Then we're going to explain and get into details, explaining the proposed flow that we want to follow. And finally, we will finish the presentation with a small demo workshop where you will be able to see the flow in action using some artifacts, demo artifacts for both design and development. So our key idea and central point of or concept that we want to develop during this presentation is templates. Templates tends to make things, and especially when you are collaborating, really easy. But first, let's get some context. So what's the problem that we're facing here? The collaboration. Collaboration, especially between designers or the design team and the development team, especially front-end. And it can be dramatic at some point. And that drama can lead to frictions between both teams when developers get hard designs that they feel like they cannot implement in time, or maybe that when designers get to know that their design or their effort is not going to be implemented. So that can end up with unsustainable situations, delays, conflicts, or even failures in the projects because of this collaboration. But why is this a problem? We're going to give some examples for both sides, designers and developers, and we're going to start with designers. So as a designer, you might not know how hard it is to actually implement your idea. So maybe you do an incredible UX or a really pretty UI that it's 3 times harder to implement than something that is very, very similar. Or maybe you don't know about the technical requirements of your idea. So maybe it's not doable because you have some technical dependencies or missing technologies, or because the development team, is not having some special skill that is needed. Or maybe you just forget about designing some small items or behaviors when you are developing something that it's like designing something that it's a really complex feature or that has a lot of things to sum up. You maybe lose some details, and then the developers will have to guess those details. Maybe it's some hovering behavior, redirections, some transitions between two designs. But what about the developers? Okay, so maybe you just, at the very beginning, just misunderstand the design. You don't get the UX idea of the designer, or you get confused when you are implementing something like the layout, then it's not as responsive as it should, or something like that. Or maybe you just have to recheck again and again because you don't have access, or you cannot see in detail each value that the designer was thinking in each small detail of the implementation. So then when it's QA'd, you get some errors that are saying add some pixels here, like the pixel perfectionist, add some pixels here, or add wherever in other place, some color. Or maybe, as we commented already, you just need to guess behaviors because they are not specified in the design files. So to sum up, the problem is a lack of communication and the timing in the communication, especially. So it's important that you are able to raise your hand when something is not clear in the development side, or to check the latest changes when they are on the very moment that they are done. Agreement between both teams how things are going to be done, where, how, or even if they are possible. Definition of the flow, of the tools that you're going to use, the processes, how are you going to communicate. So in general, having a roadmap to follow. And of course, consistency. You have to be consistent between design and development implementation. So our solution, or the main key point of our solution is templates, and specifically matching atomic templates. And that will work as a starting point, defining the base, all the base foundations, components, following some atomic design structure. So both are always keeping this consistency. And that starting point is going to be reusable, iterable, maintainable, because you have that template, but it's of course always going to be extensible. You will be able to improve it on each iteration or on each project. You will be able to add things to it, to both of them. And of course, any other project, any new project that you start, you will get these two templates as the very beginning of them and base your implementation on them. So let's get to the workflow, and we're going to extend that proposed solution with a whole workflow that will let us go from those templates to actual products. The origin, how it's going to start. We're going to start with the design system, that it's the developer's template, as we commented, and it's going to be containing all the base functionality that any project, front-end project, might need. So it's going to have theme configuration, as you can see here with the foundations, colors, typography, spacings that are going to be set as design tokens that are going to be used in all the rest of the design system. And after that, you will have encapsulated and atomic components that will have all that functionality, base functionality that any front-end project could need. And of course, it's going to be matching with the design. So now, Lara is going to continue with it.
So now we start the worm. Now, I'm not sure how many designers are here in the room. Maybe you can put hand up. Great. I'm sure that the most of you have problems in some of the parts of your process with projects. So we try to solve this situation. Try to, if you can't with the enemy, join with him. So we start to define a template where we use the same structure, the same naming of the different components that they are actually using in their design system. We organize the content in the same way that they normally work. So for them, it's more easier to find the different elements and make sure that all the things are in the same places that they have in their actual design system. So in this way, they don't have problem to understand things. Like I said, we structured this template in the same with the same organization. We divide the template in foundations. With the foundation, we define the different aspects, the basic aspect of a design of a project. So the style guide of a new client have here the basic element like colors, typography, scales, spaces, or this type of things. We divide the second part of this is the components. We define the primary buttons, for example, buttons like primary, secondary, things like checkbox and small elements that make sense itself. The third part here are the patterns. Like or the most of you know, is a set of components that combine together to create a function, to take on a function. And then page examples or regions like footers, headings, and these things. But the most important question here maybe that always if this template constrain the design. For us, this is not a problem because when we start a new project, when a new client comes, start to work in both files. We start to define the design, the UI part, or in the case that this project needs wireframes, and we start to define basic elements and pass all the elements, add all these elements in the template. So, if we do in this way, we have, first of all, a basic checklist with the most important elements that a client, a project needs, so we can have a clear overview of all of the elements done. And we can, after that, we can start to create improvements there. And we can start to have more focus in the hard part, so we can start to think more in flows, in improvement than define basic elements like define colors or the things. Use this type of template provides maintainability, so we can make products much easier because we have defined the basic elements and we can reply in most of the pages them. Provides extensibility, so any changes, any new functionality that we need in a project, we can add in this template. And we can check in one project, and if we think that is something that we can move for the general template, we can do it. And we always in this way are, have a live file, and our system is always improvement. It's consistent, provides consistency, so make more quality for our designs, because we are always using the same elements in the same way. We are using the same buttons, the same patterns, and the same behaviors. And like I said, have continuous improvement, so we can scale up very faster and define new elements there. The latest things that we was seeing, and we start to rethink to do in this way, is that I'm not sure if it's a case that you have in your company, but some of our project needs to work for external designers, and this is really hard for our developers because at the end they don't know the way to provide us the best way for their designs. So if we can provide them this template, they can use like a base to define all these elements there. And for our developers, it's more easy to implement this. It's a good point because I think it's more faster to create this project. And that, as I said in the first part, the more important thing here is the communication between teams and the collaboration. They have, our developer, when we start a new project, always have access to the principal files here. So when me or my colleagues, like a designer, start a project, the first thing is share both files to them. And they're always checking all the design. So in the case that we are thinking to create a new flow, a new behavior that they can't implement in, they are always constantly, they are always checking this one. We have several validation meetings between the process, between the designs, and we are always checking these things. So in this way, we can have agreements, internal agreements, before show to the client at the end. And in this way, we can improve the deliveries of the project, and they don't have to do things very hard at the end. So like I said, we have technical validation inside the team, and after it, we can show to the client. And now my colleague Monica is continuing here.
Thank you, Lara. So once we have the validated design, what we do as a developer. So first, we need to set up our design system. We have a base design system, as Lara told us, where we can set up in all the projects. So it's easy, even if we need to change something in the base system, it's easy to change for update in all the projects that we have. So the next step that we did is adapt the template that we have to the design. This means that we need to define the style that we are using in the new design. For example, colors, fonts, typography, and also adapt the components. If we have, for example, changes in the buttons, in the cards, or all that we need in the new design. So, to this point, to the workflow, we have some different important points. So, one of these is the templates. It's really important to define a good structure to the template, not only in the design, but also in the project that we are using, to have a consistency between the designers and the developers. So the new design is really important to be based in the Figma, this template that we are using, and the same that we have in the projects. The next step important is the validate. We need to have constantly communication between the designers, between the developers, to have validation all that we are doing. And the last step, and not the less important, is the design system update. So based on the design that we provide, the designer provide us, we need to update our design. And of course, integrate with Drupal. So right now, time to the workshop. What kind of tool we are using in this workshop? So in the design part, as we are talking, we are using Figma. And in the developer part, we are using Tailwind for the styling. We are using Lead for the web components, and Storybook to show all the changes that we are doing. And of course, Drupal for integrate all our components. And let's start with the workshop time. If you want, here you are another QR where you can have access to the repository where we prepare everything for you in case that you want to set up your local environment, and let's try. In this case, in this repository, you will find 3 different branches. We have one branch with all the design system, the base design system that we are using. We have another branch with the design, and the last branch with some changes in the design that sometimes happens. So, if you go to the QR, to the repository, you will see a README. Then, if you follow the README, you can set up your local environment. We prepare in that branch, we prepare all the atomic design system that we are using. The first thing is what is atomic design. In this case, the atomic design is we prepare, as you can see here, hopefully in the screenshot, we have the different elements which start for the more smaller component, like could be a link, a button, and then we have more bigger components, like could be a card or some different regions, and so let's see. Here we are. Now, if you can see, we are in the repository when we have different folders and structure. So hopefully you will see here that we have a folder which is the design system, where we prepare our base design system, where we have in all the projects. Inside of the design system, as you can see, we have the different components that we prepare for this demo. In this case, we have, for example, buttons, cards, headline, image, text. If we go inside to the folder, we have inside to the components, button component, we have the different files, which could be the CSS for the styling, we have the GS for the web components, and then the stories. The stories will be for, sorry, I will close this, yeah. And the stories for make a visually that what we are doing. Also, we have the tailwind, as I mentioned before. We are using tailwind for all the styling about the design. In this case, we have some different colors only, like could be the branch, the secondary color, and so on. Here, you can add all the plugins or all that you need in tailwinds. So if I go right now to the storybook, I will go here. So here we are in the storybook. If you can see here, as I mentioned, as we saw in the Visual Studio, we have here the different components that we have for this demo. We have here the buttons, we have the headline, the cards, and image text. In this case, this is only the base design that we have right now. Inside of the button, for example, we have the default button, and we have some different variants, like could be the secondary button, or maybe outline, and also the headline, where you can see the typography that right now is set up in the project, and for example, the default card we only have right now, some image, title, and some text, which is only an example. And right now, I will come back to the presentation, and then I will continue with Lara.
Okay. So now designers start to design a new project. New project is coming and we need to start a new project here. It's not only have a good structure in this design template. It's more and more in Figma, have a good structure in this software, in this tool. The first things that I said before is that we need to involve our developers team, well, developers in this case, because here we are with developers, but we involve developers, involve PMs, and all the members of the project there, because all of them are allowed to see all the process and can check there. And we need to have a good and clear and optimal organization in this design file. All of our projects have the same structure. We are working in it now because we are defining continuous improvement, internal continuous improvement, because at the end we are learning with projects, we are learning with type of teams, and now we decide to use the same structure. We are going to, I'm going to have a fast review here because maybe we need another workshop to explain the structure of Figma and projects, but where at the end, if you see, we have always the design system file in all of our projects. This design system file is is a copy of the basic one that they are using for their storybook. So for example, for this project, like the talk here, we are going to have the main file with the designs, with the UI design, and with them, the component library and style guide, that is the template that we used. Internally, we prefer to have a good structure of all of our files, because maybe it's not the first time that you open Figma and see a lot of screens with a lot of layout together, and maybe your brain can poof, and it's not good. So we try to structure the flows in different tabs with a clear status and structure there. So in this way, always they know where is the latest file, the file that is validated for the client. So all is good. So the first thing that, imagine that start a project, we open our template in Figma and duplicate this template and have a copy of this in, please help me because I'm Mac user, not Linux user. Now. So we duplicate the file, and the first thing to make more easier their life, because at the end we are UX designers, so we need to take in mind the user, and developers are users too, sometimes. We structure this summary where we start to define all the components or the elements that are defined in our template. We have a fast link in all of them, a fast access, and they can go to all of the components or the foundation with a click. Click. Linux mode on. In this view too, you can see if we are, when we start to define and complete this and add element in the template, we start to add like a check in desktop or mobile, so they can have a general overview and which type of component are defined, what types of element they have ready to implement it. Go to page. Sorry, the link here is. Now, so if we go to click in cards, we can see the basic card that we have defined, like a general theme. Based in it, we start to define the new cards with the look and feel, with the new foundation that have the project. Now we move to the presentation again. So the second thing, we start to work with the design. like I said, we work together with this template. We start to define a general layout in the UI file. And then when we have defined the basic elements, we start to add this element to the template of this project. How we organize the designs and how we link it the different things here to make more easier the life of them. We have a clear structure here in this sidebar, and we always have in the handover section the designers that are validated for the PMs that can share for the client, and the pages that they can start to implementing. And we always add notes here in general information, and always have linked it to this design template system. And in the case that, for example, we create a prototype, iteration prototype in Figma to show them how we want the behavior of a menu, for example, we add here the link too. So they always know where is all the information. Okay. So this is, for example, the design system of this design. You can see that we start to redefine elements like colors to add the principal element, the principal color of this project, the secondary color or complementary color, the typography that we are using. So all these type of themes are defining here, and all our developers can get. So here you can see that in this template we start to move and define the cards, for example, in this case that we apply in our design, and we add this type of card in the components in this template. Now Jose is going to continue.
Okay, so yeah, we already have our base design system set up, hopefully, and in place. So also the design for our new project with matching design template that Lara has already shown. And now we are going to start to adapt our design system in order to make it match with the new design and to be able to build the page that Lara showed. So if you want, please check this QR that is going to lead you to the second branch that we have, that is automatically going to have everything implemented. We don't have time to go step by step here, so if you want to get it, and you will be able to see everything that we have there. All right, so this is going to be our steps to follow here. We are going to start going back to our design system that we have already set up, and of course we're going to be checking Lara's design, and then we're going to start updating our design system. So we are going to change design tokens. As Lara said, some colors has changed, and then we are going to change the component styles to make them match with the new components, like component by component, because we have the template. And then we are going to add new component variants or new functionality that's needed that wasn't in our base template, so that extensible part of it. And in the end, we're going to explain how is this going to be actually integrated. We're not going to be in detail there, because it's not the purpose of the talk, but we're going to check how it's integrated and how is that going to enable us to actually use the components and build a page in Drupal. So yeah, I'm going to show you. That was the first one. So first of all, what we are going to do is, as a developer now, go to the template that Lara provides us. And of course, we're going to start with the foundations. And as Monica said, we had a tailwind config file that it's going to have all these foundations values. So if we go to our tailwind config here in the new branch, you can see that we have changed the colors. We have added a new font family, for example, that is Germanist. And we have set up, of course, here it's just a few values. In a real project, it will be a lot of more values, also spacings, also font sizes, or whatever. So After that, we will be able to have in our design system directly all these colors change. So this was our first one, and if we go to the secondary button, sorry, this was our second one. This was our first one iteration with it only the template, and if we go to the secondary, it was having some blue demo color, and now if we go here, as we have changed here the secondary color, and it's matching the colors that Lara has defined right here in our colors foundation section right here, this one. Yeah, you can see it, but if I zoom maybe, yeah, exactly this one here we have copied to the other place. Of course, we will also able to set up all these gradients or yeah, scale of colors, but for example we just move the secondary one. So that's what's enable us to use or automatically update our template colors. After that, we will go component by component, and in the demo we are going to show you how to do it with the cards. So if we go to the component section, we get into the cards component, we will be seeing the new design that we have from Lara, and of course we can automatically, as Figma provides, get all the values and CSS values here, and in order to use them in the styling side of the component. So once we check this, we go to our DC card, as Monica also showed, component, and we will be able to just change the markup that we have here in order to restructure our card very easily, because we already have the parts of it defined. So it's just maybe moving something to the top or something to the bottom, or maybe something inside of other thing, or styling something with an absolute position. So then we go to the card CSS file and start adding here all those style values that we need, always using our tailwind configuration that it's automatically going to apply all the design tokens that we have defined. And after that, as I commented, we need to actually use this component in Drupal. So in order to do that, we have templates that are corresponding to paragraphs that we can automatically use. So here, for example, we are using a DC button, that it's one of our components, that it's a secondary one. And we are also using a DC card generally, that it's at the top, so the DC button is inside of it. That is defining all the media, so the image and some text, how is the text going to be, and so on. After that, we will be going component by component, as I said. We're not going to demo that, but you will be updating component by component following just this structure that we have here in Figma, and the same structure that we have in our design system. And when you do that, you will be able to see all the changes applied in your storybook, so you can isolate those changes and see them right here. For example, the new font, as you can see here, and also the size of the font. You can see the new card with all the styles that Lara provides us, and a new variant. That is something that I didn't comment it, but as you can see, we also implemented here a new variant, passing as a parameter that it's going to be compact variant, and it's the gray one. So yeah, that's practically it from my side. And now we are going to continue checking, as I said, the last page, the actual page that we implemented, thanks to that that integration with the paragraphs. So here we are. We have the design that Lara provides us. Of course, we are not going to explain how to actually build the page, because we don't have time. But yeah, it's practically matching the design that Lara has here. And now, finally, I'm going to let Monica continue and finish.
Yeah, thank you. So sometimes in the project happens that we have changes in the middle of the project, so changes are coming. So in this case, if you can see here, we have now a new design. We have a new paragraph here with some properties here, and also we have a new card, another new paragraph here. So we need to update up to this point the design system. We need to update our templates. We need to make some change. I will go quickly about this. So here we have the last QR we have everything prepared there, which is in the third branch, where we have all the new variants that we create, the new color that we set up, everything that the change that we need to do. So in this case, we check first, as we follow the workflow that we explain in this presentation, we check the design. Once we check the design, we see that we have different, I will go to the design here. We have new colors here. As you can see, we have the font is changed, and also the color of the font is changed. So we need to do it. So in this case, we go directly again to the tailwind, and then we change and update our design system. First, we need to update the design system. In this case, we update the colors, we update the font family, we add a new property for this headline, and also we have a new variant card, which is with another color. And of course, we need to integrate with Drupal. So in this case, we update the design system, as I told you. If we go here to the design system, as you can see now, we have a different font type, a different font family, a different colors, and so we have another property here. And in the card, if you can see here, we have another new variant card, which is compact highlight that match with the design. So I will back again to the presentation. So the conclusion of this workshop is we have three important points to this important points. So which is the first is stability. We need to have the designer and developer. We need to match the design that Lara in this case provide us. We need to match with the atomic design that we are using in order to have consistency between the designers and the developers. Of course, the most important thing is the communication. If we don't have communication, we don't know if we have some changes, if we need to create new variants, or if we need to update something in our projects. It's really, really important to have a good communication between your team. And of course, the structure. We need to follow the same structure, not only in the designer, also as a developers, because with the same structure is easy to go directly to the designs, check the design, check the colors, check the new components, and then we go to our design system and then update our design system with all the new changes that we have. And of course, this structure have really important thing that is maintainable and reusable. We can maintainable more or less easily, and we can reuse in all the projects that we can prepare. That's all. Thank you so much. Do you have any question or something? Okay.
Hello. Do you deliver the design system to your clients? Okay. My question is, do you deliver the design system to your client as part of the delivery?
In most of the projects, we just maintain that design system in order to actually use it. But yes, of course, if you have like and you deliver it as a product, the whole software, the design system is inside of it. But most of the times, we just continue maintaining the project, so we are kind of the maintainers of it. It's not that the client gets it and for them and they maintain it. We still maintain it.
Hi. How you dealing with multiple projects? Because I think your design system was built once, and how you deal with a lot of projects? How do you manage it?
Like, you mean like, yeah, we have the template as we commented, and then
Yes, with even on the dev part as the design part, because I think you do not just copy and paste. You use something as you change in design systems, your primary design systems, and after it's applied on your project design systems. How do you do this?
okay, we have a theme for Drupal that is automatically having the design system template that we commented inside of it. And then we just, when we start a new Drupal project, we just cloned our theme in that Drupal project, so we have everything already set up. So we only have to set up the first time, and then there, as we commented, we start adapting it. So Lara provides a new design, and then we already have everything there. So we just have to start working on it, and we have to update the design tokens or the components or whatever. But we still have all the functionality that we keep in the same place, and we extend and we improve project by project.
Next is me. So I have a couple of questions, but mainly you mentioned that this needs maintenance, and I was wondering what are the cost or the time needed from your design team and front-end to maintain this. I know, for example, like in-house design system like Airbnb would have like a team of 5 persons maintaining just the design system. So how does this work for an agency? And also, what are the pros and cons that you think comes from building your in-house design system versus using an open source design system like Material Design, which is well supported on a front-end level? There's a team in Drupal, there's already a React community. So like, why did you decide to build your own design system versus adapting our already existed open source design system?
Okay. So for the first question,
So for the first question,
Sorry, can you talk into the mic?
yes,
We're going to be
better.
streaming, sorry.
well, for the second, I'm going to start for the second one. For the second question, I think is for us is we prefer to start to define our own design system, because for us it's our product, and we can make more improvement, and we can do the things that we don't have to have in mind the things that are done. So we want to create new things and define new things that based in the needs and in the things that a client needs in this moment. So we want to be free in this way, and we have the option to work together for our team. So we have this possibility too. And the first question, now I forget. Sorry.
How cost effective is for an agency to maintain your own design system?
Okay, now in this moment we are 3 members in the team. So maybe if this increment, we need to add more members in the team. But now in this moment we are allowed to do it. It's not a problem.
yeah, but it's like, okay. Also, Tamash is already answering, right? But yeah, we have also in the design system. In the design system part for the developers, we also rotating. So we have maybe 1 or 2 developers that are in charge of checking that everything is going well, but then all the developers in the company are able to point out that they found something in some other project when they are applying the solution, and add an issue in the project, and then it's going to be fixed even by them if they already fixed them in the actual project. So that's one of the points that we commented, that that maintainability is also enabled because of that, because we are using that template in every project. So if you find any error in any project, you are able to go back to your template and update it.
There's one question from the app. Is the Figma document that you displayed just now, is it publicly available, or?
Yeah, it is. And it's on the links. I can go back to the very beginning where you can get access to the slides. So all the links are inside the slides, and you can click on them, and you will be able to see the resources that we provided. Like, that you cannot access to them? Ah, okay.
I think the most of them, yes, but we can review it.
Yeah, we can change it.
Any other questions? All right, I'm running to you.
I just wanted to check how you're dealing with the versioning of the design system when you go through several sort of design iteration before the clients actually sign off, and how do you know if there's a new version of the component and you've not implemented the previous version yet?
But
So,
it's for development or for the?
I mean, in general, how do you deal with the
I can
process?
answer the development. Okay, so for development, we use, of course, Git. So we always have versions tagged when we are changing it. So in the design system template, we have tags every time we increment our functionality, and on every project we also have tags when we are changing things. So that's Git is the main version control for Figma.
And for designers, the same. Figma provides us a version history, so we always save the date of the version, and we always have a history of this version that the client, when the client start to do changes, we have always a version history, like a background, and we can recover them all time in files and in the template too.
And we out of time. You can I think you guys can catch him at the booth. Right?
Yeah.
You know, you have like final words, right?
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining to us. If you have more questions or comment, please, I invite you to go to the 1x Internet, both 10. So see you there. Thank you again.